about artists paying victims to keep their name out of it.
And I'm seeing like different celebrities. It was a rapper that we all know.
Combs continued to move closer and then grabbed plaintiff's genitals through his pants, squeezing them in a rough and sexual manner.
Do you know if the notes from the book really were from Kim Porter?
It was, yes, because I spoke to her probably like 6 hours before I got it received.
Rogan provided the federal authorities with some really damaging information on Diddy.
Gremlins start eating after midnight. Everybody who tells the stories like, I saw I go upstairs and these dudes are fucking like right on the couch. And then I go in this room and these guys are fucking, and it's like.
Diddy is now dealing with even more challenges.
Let's start with Tania Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak-off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. And they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, you know, among many other things, I mean, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. And they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies.
We're going to look into it further, so keep checking back. But first, we need to understand the ramifications of this new Diddy documentary. According to Ray J, these famous individuals are paying Diddy's alleged victims. He said he has heard of people feigning victimization to distance themselves from the situation. He said, "I'll give you money. Please don't talk." He mentioned that some celebrities are giving cash in exchange for silence. When Levine asked about it, Ray J said that this is indeed happening right now.
On Diddy, the downfall of Diddy. This one is inside the freak-offs, and we have told you about what at least one person says happened at the freak-offs. Now we want to talk about fallout. Celebrities who may have been at some of these events, some of these freak-offs, which is now the subject not just of a criminal investigation, but more than 120 civil cases as well.
Right, and we told you that there are celebrities who are running scared, worried that their name is going to come out in public attached to any of these freak-offs.
And they are actually settling some of these cases, if you will. They're not really cases yet, but the civil lawyers have been sending demand letters to some of the people who are at these parties saying, pay up or we're going to name you. And they don't want to be named. And this is going on apparently a lot in Hollywood. And there's someone who may be kind of at the center of all of this.
And that person is Ray J, who is telling what he has heard directly from celebrities about how they are handling this crisis. And believe me, to them, it is absolutely a crisis.
During the interview, Ray J made reference to the practice of paying someone to delete content, saying that people do catch and kill all day. He said that some people are compensated to conceal the truth in the hopes that the money would comfort them while the deceit goes on. Ray J claims that many famous individuals have gotten in touch with him and trusted him enough to share their experiences with Diddy. Levin asked whether these people were afraid that Diddy would find out about their connection. That's exactly what's happening, according to Ray J. As though regretting the extent of his disclosure, he said, "I don't even know why I just said it, but I said it, so what? They'll be incensed. Come get me." He refused to go into more detail, saying he had said too much.
And he gave us a lot of information about what celebs are doing behind the scenes.
I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their name out of it.
You know people who have been approached by women, men, whatever, who have said, give me money and I won't talk?
Here's the other way around that, Harvey. I'll give you money, please don't talk.
You are a well-connected guy. Do you know that what you've just described, is that going on now?
They want to talk to me. They want to talk to me about what happened to them. They call me. They feel like they can trust me. Wait a minute. Calling you for what? Calling you for what? Because they want to tell me about certain things that happen with them and Diddy.
Ray, I want to make sure I understand this.
Diddy, the music entrepreneur, was arrested in September and pleaded not guilty to accusations of sex trafficking, prostitution, and racketeering. He is also often accused of using violence. Attorney Tony Busby, who represents many of Diddy's alleged victims, intimated during a press conference that the public would be surprised by the list of Diddy's collaborators. This has been a topic of discussion for some time.
Houston lawyer who has more than 120 of these civil cases, and he said to us some really important things. Number one, he said there are celebrities, there are politicians and business people, all of whom they are reaching out to, and from the way it sounds, they have already sent some of them demand letters saying, pay up or we're going to file a lawsuit again. And then he said in this documentary, which I think is really ominous, even if you didn't do anything untoward at a freak-off, if you're a celebrity who was there or anybody who was there and you saw something going on where somebody was passed out and somebody was having sex with that person and you didn't do anything, Tony Busby believes that those people are civilly liable and he's going to go after them as well.
Right, and clearly the approach here is he knows exactly what Ray J just said, that these celebrities are desperate to not be attached to it publicly in any way.
Busby emphasized that they would make sure the evidence was trustworthy before revealing any more identities. There may also be more than one name.
People who are his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in this affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, can you imagine? He had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs or little tape recorders. I mean, little those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man, all kind of crazy shit. Bruh, they just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known, if it's on videotape.
In October, Busby reportedly told TMZ that he had sent demand letters to many A-list celebs who would have known about Diddy's infamous freak-offs in order to provide a private settlement. Shine recently reflected on the challenges he has faced in his life while discussing his documentary and his connection with Sean Diddy in an appearance on the Tamron Hall show. The Honorable Shine, the documentary, follows Shine's journey from rap stardom to his imprisonment and eventual transformation into a political figure in Belize. It describes Shine's rise to prominence in the 1990s music business, his involvement with Sean Puffy Diddy in a well-known nightclub shooting in New York, Diddy's subsequent deportation to Belize, and how he shifted his attention to politics there. However, Diddy is unable to really escape what he did since Shine's past continues popping up in discussions about Diddy. In a recent interview, Natalia Rubin, who was injured in the 1999 nightclub massacre, said that Diddy had forced her to leave her Brooklyn home.
I'm a Brooklyn girl. I was born in Brooklyn. I was raised in Brooklyn. My family's from the Caribbean. Between, whether it was times that we spent in the Caribbean or my life in Brooklyn, I'd considered myself a New York girl. I had no intentions of leaving. And probably had this happened, I probably would have never left. But when the district attorney's office gets information from one of their confidential informant sources saying that there's a bag on my head, and I'm calling the district attorney's office, and I'm calling everybody because I look out my window where I was living in Canarsie, Brooklyn, and there's 4 stretched blacked out SUVs I lived on the corner. There's one on that corner, one in front of my house, one on the next corner. Why? That's never happened to me before. I've never seen that. I live in a typical Afro-Caribbean community in Canarsie, Brooklyn, that I had never seen that. But now I look out the window after I got shot by Puffy, and all of these SUVs blacked out on the corners and on the blocks of my house. Why? Why? When the district attorney's office notifies me and my mother that they got and my attorney confidential information from an informant saying that there's a bag on my head, and there was also a bag on Scar's head, what should I do? Sit there and wait for them to come?
The 1999 shooting at Club New York in Manhattan injured 3 bystanders. Diddy and his bodyguard were found not guilty, while Shine was convicted guilty and given a 10-year prison term. Diddy has strongly denied recent allegations that kids were there at one of his notorious freak-off parties. Tanya Wallace, who appeared in the documentary Inside the Freak-Offs and the Downfall of Diddy, made the accusations after claiming to have attended a party the music mogul hosted in 2018.
Documentary that dropped on Tubi on the downfall of Diddy. This one is called Inside the Freak-Offs. And we have a lot of information on what goes down some of these freak-offs that is really, really interesting. We should kind of preface this.
Information, we should say, from
firsthand.
People who were actually there.
So we should preface this by saying, look, in the documentary, we also talked to lawyers and others, and we know that other celebrities, other than Diddy, are in their sights. That there are lawyers now who have actually sent demand letters to other celebrities who were at some of these parties for various reasons. Some were just there. Some allegedly participated in things that went south. And so with that backdrop, we spoke with a woman named Tania Wall. Tania lived in Los Angeles. I think she still does. And this was in 2018. And she says a Saudi prince had flown her out to Miami and ultimately taken her to Star Island at Diddy's house.
Right. And when she got to this party, again in 2018, she described, we're going to get to what the really disturbing thing she says she saw, but what everyone wants to know is about these celebrities. This is what she said about that particular party.
It gets worse too. Much worse.
There are people doing drugs, there are people having sex.
And I'm seeing like different celebrities. It was a rapper that we all know. I'm not gonna say his name, but he came and was like, hey you, and got the feeling on me.
You said you saw celebrities there. Roughly how many people that you recognized?
3 or 4.
And you said one was a rapper. Were they all in music?
Yeah.
And all famous?
Yeah.
And all participating?
Oh yeah. This rapper, what I am gonna say is, I'm used to seeing them dress a different type of way at this party. 2 earrings on, and I'm looking like, he sure do look different when he's over here with...
Even worse, a federal investigation is still underway into Diddy's alleged involvement in sex trafficking and racketeering. A related aspect is that, despite some speculation that the accused parties were part of a wider illegal operation, Diddy's legal team continues to insist that the allegations are unfounded and will be denied in court. A grand jury in the Southern District of New York heard testimony from Courtney Burgess, a witness in the Diddy investigation. 2 or 3 of the individuals on the 11 flash drives, which included at least 8 celebrity sex tapes, were minors, according to Burgess.
Subpoenas were issued and executed based on the federal authorities' knowledge that these flash drives existed and had this kind of compromising material?
I think it was based on statements that Mr. Burgess made in a prior interview.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let
be.
me rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized.
Yeah,
meaning
victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it.
Before she passed away, Kim Porter Diddy's ex-girlfriend reportedly granted him access to the flash drives.
Received on the flash drives, was it the completed book or was it notes from Kim Porter that later were made into a book?
It was completed. It's only 60,
Okay.
it's only about 54 pages. It was
Sure, and in the beginning, it says, Kim made me promise that if something happened to her, I would make sure this book became public to the world. The way Sean moved, I knew that was a promise I would have to fulfill. Kim knew I was a woman of my word, and this book was going to make it to print. So it sounds like it is a woman who wrote up the notes from Kim Porter. Does that sound accurate?
It's how you read it, yes. I haven't even read the book.
Do you know who the woman is?
No.
And to be clear, he received it in its complete form. So I think just to make sure we have some clarity here, the manuscript that Mr. Burgess received was already in its complete form. It's not that he edited it or changed anything.
Got it.
He did give it to someone
Makes
else
sense.
who then edited it, but that's not how he received it.
Okay, so Ariel, did your client, Courtney, receive the book from the woman who seems to have written it, saying, I'm a woman of my word, and this book is going to make it to print?
I don't know if he received it from a man or a woman. He can answer that.
I received it from a man. I tell you, somebody she was dating.
Do you know if the notes from the book really were from Kim Porter?
It was, yes, because I spoke to her probably like 6 hours before I received it.
On October 14th, Diddy was sued by 6 more accusers. Diddy was accused of sexually assaulting 2 males at different Hamptons white parties, one of whom was barely 16 at the time. One lady, Jane Doe, said that when she was 19 years old in 2004, Diddy had sexually attacked her in a hotel room. In 2021, he was forced to perform oral sex with Diddy in a Macy's storage room, according to another complainant. In 2021, another guy said he was assaulted and drugged at a party.
Says he was sexually assaulted at a party promoting Ciroc. This party apparently happened in Los Angeles in or around 2020. It was hosted by Ciroc and Diddy, who owned some stake in the company and was a celebrity spokesperson for the drink. Prior to this party, John Doe had a long-standing relationship with Diddy. John Doe is a businessman in LA, whose company specializes in renting luxury cars and jewelry. In the past, John Doe had rented cars or jewelry to Diddy and members of his entourage. John Doe showed up at this party after Diddy himself personally extended an invitation. John Doe agreed based on his past relationship with Diddy. At the party, John Doe noticed some pretty high-profile celebrities in both the entertainment and music industry. His lawsuit includes some pics of this, with Diddy on the couch discussing his Ciroc business with other high-profile people. The lawsuit goes on to state that during the event, Combs instructed John Doe to join him in Combs' private office. Plaintiff went into the office where the two were alone. Plaintiff assumed Combs wanted to have a discussion about business. However, plaintiff immediately realized Combs was intoxicated and acting strangely. Combs began awkwardly moving close. As he did so, Combs removed his pants and exposed his genitals to plaintiff. Combs continued to move closer and then grabbed plaintiff's genitals through his pants, squeezing them in a rough and sexual. Plaintiff, shocked and disoriented, froze momentarily and did not know how to respond to the weirdly inappropriate sexual advances made by Combs. This situation apparently escalated until someone, referred to as Professional Athlete A, entered the office and interrupted this assault. John Doe left the party and went home, but took a picture of the Ciroc bottle from the...
We're simplifying it so you won't get bogged down in the details, but they are very terrible. This time, do you think he'll escape? Tell us in the space provided for comments below.